What on earth is that? It's a Journey into Comics Network production! All aboard!
I brought my pencil.
What do you wanna do with your life?
Walk on home, boy. Yeah.
Like anything gets the same like you did before. Make it ring, make it bleed, make it really so.
What's up, Tutorinos? Welcome back to another episode of Rank 'Em All, that show where we take a band's discographies, and we go down each album, each song. We rank them, we dank them, we do all that kind of stuff. Here on the show, this week we are covering Van Halen. Still, we're on Fair Warning. So fair warning, this is going to be a very interesting episode. It's been a little while since
Damn it, Brando, right out the gate.
Hey, man, hitting it early. It has been a while since we have been together, but for you guys, it's just next week. So we're really excited to get back to the grind here. Grind. Wait, Grimes? No, Joe Grimes is here. Joe, what's up, man?
Wow. Nice segue.
Hey.
John, that was good. I was impressive. Actually, I applaud you, sir. That worked. Quite nicely.
I don't podcast sometimes as much as I used to, but I think I still got it. I think I still got it, guys.
It worked.
What is really interesting going down the Van Halen discography is that, Nate, this is a complete juxtaposition, and we've said it here on the show before, as to what we did with Metallica. With Metallica, we were diehard fans. We had to learn to kind of maybe dial that back and be a little bit more constructive with our own. Yeah, and critical to the songs that we're going to be listening to and ranking to, and pull back our fandom, because there's literally only a few songs that I can even possibly think of that I would skip for Metallica if they came on random. Maybe for mood purposes I would skip it, but for actually dislike it, that's very few, even if I don't rank them the highest. But for Van Halen, we're diving into albums that we have stuff we've never heard of before, and we talked about that even on the very first album. And this has made this journey a little bit more interesting, because now we are all three of us are kind of in that same boat of, we have heard a lot of songs, but there's a lot we have not heard.
Yeah.
So this is Fair Warning. This is we're on album number 4.
Yeah, and I was trying to gather my thought here real quick about what you were just saying.
Sure.
And I think I have a good way to say this. So like the juxtaposition of you saying that, like, with Metallica you skip very rarely. I'm learning with this ranking of this band of Van Halen, who I already like a lot of their songs. Like, I'm not a diehard fan by any stretch of the imagination. I don't want to get people twisted. I'm finding myself not skipping songs that maybe before I would have skipped. Even songs that are on the best of albums I was skipping are within these albums. And I'm just like, damn, they were doing some cool shit, and I was just not paying attention. I was just not paying attention. I was just listening. I was showing up like Dick and giving my 30% for Van Halen, and now I'm giving more. I really am about VH.
Yeah, so like, and that's one reason why I really wanted to do it, because with Metallica, Nate, for that one, it's for me and you, it's kind of a layup. Me and you could literally walk into each and every episode completely unprepared and still having a compelling episode. Nate, you had a notebook worth of notes and lists. I literally did not ever once write anything down for the Metallica shows, ever, because I knew each song and I knew what I wanted to say about each song. For this one, it's a little bit different, where I actually find myself having to go back and re-listen to the album before we come in here to record, which is something that maybe Blaine should have done a few times on the Metallica run through. You know what? This is kind of interesting.
Oh.
This is a bit long ways down a couple months removed. I agree with my kid on that one. Just complete and guttural, like, I almost said, wow. So I was thinking of the lead singer of Judas Priest. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Rob Halford.
Rob Halford. Do you know how I almost said?
Uh-oh.
Completely.
Uh-oh.
My kid just screamed because he's a baby and he's screaming. And I almost said Richard Pryor.
Richard Pryor.
What?
What? Little.
He's out there doing his Richard Pryor scream. What the?
This.
Wow. Anyway, guys, no, we record these
A flamethrower.
Oh my god.
We do these episodes well in advance, and we even try to get them all done before we even complete them. That's why when we do the Metallica episodes, and people are commenting along on the next episode, we don't mention those comments because those comments didn't exist when we recorded them. Now we can kind of go back as we go along. It kind of gives you a hint of when we're recording them. We get some little hints of like time and placement. But no, Nate, it's really cool because now we are in that realm of being introduced to songs we hadn't heard before from bands that we do know and are aware of and have heard some songs, whether that's greatest hits or other miscellaneous tracks here and there. And that is what this project to me is all about. Discovering new music from bands you either know or sometimes maybe you go in completely blind.
New old music.
New old music, old new music.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is what I really enjoyed, honestly, about the Van Halen project so far that I've been a part of with you guys. And Fair Warning is an album from Van Halen released April 29th, 1981. Of course, this is back in that era, just like we discussed before, where you release an album almost every year or every other year, and you went right back out on the road. And sometimes
this is the last year of that trend.
Yes, kind of it is. Yeah, well, kind of. The next album is kind of the end of that trend for them.
Oh, that's right. It was Diver after.
Yeah.
My bad. Damn it! I'm all excited to talk about all these things.
I know. So there were 2 singles from this album, and again, all tracks written and credited to the entire band, which is of course Eddie Van Halen, Alex Van Halen, Michael Anthony, and David Lee Roth. Still rocking that core lineup here, and you have. I don't know. It's been a while since we've done an episode, so like the producer and anything like that. I'm not sure if that's Ted Templeman. I remember seeing that name. I think they've worked with him prior in the past. But the album has sold over 2 million copies. So it's again. So like think about this. Like if you just look at the songs on this list. When I was getting to this and we were gonna rank this, I'm like. Just based off the names, again, Nate, you said it. I don't think any of us are super diehard Van Halen fans like we're diehard fans of other bands or projects. Looking at this, I didn't recognize a single song.
I knew the name of one song, but I didn't know what that song sounded like until I got to it. Mm-hmm. And that was Unchained for me. Yep. And I only knew that because it's on all their greatest hits, and I've never listened to it. And I was like, I don't think it's really that great of a song, probably, because I've never listened to it. And then I heard it, and I was like, I know this song, though. So what the fuck is even happening? How's that work? How do I know a song I've never heard?
So here's the spoiler. When I reached the end of Women and Children First, when you reach the end of an album on Spotify, sometimes it just goes and plays a random song from the band, it pulls or it does like a radio type thing where it pulls like different various artists from the same genre. I got to the end of the album and it played this song. It played Unchained, and I'm like, I know this one. I looked at it and I saw the Fair Warning album art. I'm like, oh crap, that's on the next album. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait. Because we're going to get there. That's not the first track. The first track is Mean Street. And Nate, as I said, with Metallica, I did not have notes. But on Van Halen, I have some notes.
I actually have sporadic notes over the course of the next 2 albums.
Okay.
I might even advance my notes on the album after that. We'll see if that holds true. But I have very, very few like single line or one word phrases along with my rankings. But please, Brando, let's hear what, now that I'm passing the torch of Mr. Notes off to you, what does Mr. Notes have in his notes?
Well, only 2 phrases. So almost the same as you.
All right.
But this was like I didn't expect this. Maybe I when I saw the title and the song started, I wasn't necessarily like expecting the song that started off, because before we had Running with the Devil, and then the next album started with a completely different feel of a song, completely 180, right? And then we get into this, and man, this song has such a cool, laid back rock vibe. But the first thing that came to note was the guitar tone.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I feel like this is the album. Maybe it started rearing its head before, but Eddie started dialing in what would become his signature tone. And we start getting into something that would become a staple for the overall band sound. You know, we have said before in these episodes, they're slowly making their way towards that. And I feel like here is where it's like the most prominent before we get to like something like of a, you know, I don't want to put like a damper on this album in any sorts of manner by saying this, but like a blow up album that we know a certain one is coming, you know. I feel like it starts like we have the first 3 albums, you know, getting to know you, have a couple of hits, getting out there. Here's some different experimenting with different styles, and then he dialed in on his amp. He got his guitar tone. The other thing in my notes is, this is where he says "fair warning" in the lyrics of this song, and I didn't hear it the first time. Second time, I'm like, he said it. It was just like women and children first. Like it was a line.
Essentially, throwaway line.
Yeah.
Just in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
But no, I dig it. It was actually kind of cool. It was like, I don't know, it was like this kind of feel. And it's chunky, but then it would lay back. And then like, I don't know, like compared to some of the other stuff that we've heard so far, I dig it. So I'm going to toss the baton over to Joe. Do you have anything to say about Main Street?
I really like starting the album off this way. I think it's an all-around great song. Like even just from the beginning, the dun 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 dun,
Yeah.
you know, like that opening riff, and I'm like, it had me. It had a grip on me from the get-go. And then like you notice, like as what you're saying, like the whole flow of the song, you get what halfway through the song, then when it gets quieter, and they say that whole Main Street part kind of quiet, so it's like really mellow. So like, but it doesn't like really just kind of drop off. It just kind of, it leaves you hanging on, but it doesn't like bore the crap out of you. You know what I mean? Like it just sounds good.
Yeah, no, it's not quite a breakdown.
Yeah.
But it just, it lets it like some of the, you know, like the instrument, you know, the instruments kind of come back. And
Exactly.
And they pull it back and they put a highlight on just kind of like the drums, and it gets a little softer just for them to build it back up again. Like it's
right.
Like,
I mean, that's like a dynamic, like just perfection.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they bring the drums down, everything's just nice and soft, but you don't lose it. I mean, it just, oh yeah,
It's
awesome
letting the song breathe.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you feel like, and I know we're still on the first song. Do you feel like they're starting to get a feel for just instead of just making pure just like quick rock songs, which there's still more of that to come, they're starting to mess around with a little more with song dynamic and like really have a song take you on a ride instead of just like here's a song that kind of, if you didn't know it was Van Halen and you just assumed it was another Aerosmith song, you know we've said that before, like wow, this is this vibe, or this is this vibe. Here especially with this song, but other songs even on this album and to come, I feel like they actually start becoming better songwriters.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely start taking risks for sure.
Yes, that's another. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. That's also another really good point. Does anybody have anything else before we move on?
I mean, I have some things.
Okay,
I haven't even said my notes yet.
Say your notes.
It's very few words. I thought the intro and the outro together in 2 different spectrums were very rad. It definitely creates a real cool build that I love. Dave's aggressive in this song, which is good. It's good. He's not so flourishy. He's more on. He's more on the attack and less on the stage dancing his tail off. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Not really the best
Squealing.
way to say that. But yeah, Mean Streets. It was a good tune. I was really into it and was surprised. I was like, okay. I actually remember this is on Best of Both Worlds, Greatest Hits. Mean Streets is one of the tunes they pull from, and I was like, oh, I've kind of heard parts of you before, and then I skip because I'm a stupid asshole who didn't listen to this song. But now I will not be skipping this song anymore.
Oh man, it's a pretty cool tune. I gave this song a 7.5. I think it's pretty solid. Really good.
Awesome. I'm gonna just not be too far off the bat there with you, and I gave it a 7, man.
Cool. What about you, Joe?
I gave it an 8.
Nate, hell yeah. All right. So the next track is Dirty Movies.
Let's talk about porno.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty. So this is another kind of slow jam, but it's got a really cool riff. Kind of throughout. And again, it's like here's where Dave gets to be a little bit more like showboaty or vaudeville, like we've said before in the past. And there's something I wrote down. It actually made me crack up and laugh. It's lights, camera, action.
Can you imagine him in the vocal booth having to do that?
Oh.
Oh,
All right, Dave, are you ready? Lights, camera, action. Oh man.
Now, see, with Dave though, he's such a goof that I could just see him like cracking up every time he had to do it. Like, like in fact, it was probably his idea. Like, hey, check this out. This is an awesome part of this song. And Eddie's like, "Do you, man? Do you? I'm doing my part." But that's pretty much all I got for the song. It's actually I kind of liked it. It's got its own different feel than the first song. But yeah, like that's kind of what I took away from it. We'll go to Nate next. What'd you think, man?
One word describes Dirty Movies other than porno. Groovy.
It was groovy, yeah.
It was so groovy. This is just Van Halen having a groove, man.
Mm-hmm.
This, and I said this in the Metallica episode, and I will not be afraid to share this sentiment here. I feel like this is the moment where they all like finally decided, like, hey man, you want to try some pot? And, like they all smoked a joint together and like slowed down just for a fucking second, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't slow down the whole time. They didn't slow down for the whole album even, but they just took a breath. They said, okay, we can groove now, and started to emote in a different expressive manner that I don't think we've really seen from this band before. And this is when my ears really perked up during this track. I was like, wow, they are bringing it. They are bringing a groove that I was not anticipating on this album. Yes, I am for it.
We kind of left the last episode like with kind of like this, kind of like here and there. Like there's some good tracks, but then it kind of nosedives, and then there's and we kind of felt that way about like Van Halen 2. He didn't give it really that great of a rank, but I feel like we're off kind of to a good start here. What about you, Joe? What do you think of this one?
I didn't have much of a feel for this song really, actually, at all. I mean, yeah, I get the whole like it had a groove to it and such, but it's just there wasn't any one thing in the song that just made me go like, oh yeah, this is a good song. Just I was like, okay, when's the next song?
This is something that got brought up on the Metallica episodes, which you can go check out in the archives, by the way. That we said song flow can be pretty important. That like if you're really vibing on a song, the next song can seem, I don't know, more palatable to you,
Or less.
Like if you really did not like a song and you go in the next song, a pretty okay song could then be like, wow, I don't like this, just because it came after a song that you really didn't like. Or in this case, even for me, I don't think I like Dirty Movies anywhere near as much as Mean Street, but it kind of like the feel of the songs kind of flow into each other a little bit.
See, I'm kind of on the opposite take. Like Mean Street for me was so good, and then like we said before, we've talked about this, starting albums out strong.
Yeah.
And then your expectations for the album is like way up here. And like as soon as I started listening, it just started to decline for me. I'm like, well, that's kind of a letdown, because I just had that high expectation for the rest of the album.
All
I was
right.
like, it kind of sucked me in a little bit. I just was kind of disappointed with that track.
All right. Well, then we'll go ahead with the ranks. Joe, what'd you give it then?
I did a 4, man.
A 4. Wow, it jumped that back down for you, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. How about you, Nate?
On a different planet of thinking, when I ranked this song, 7.5, bro. This is a pretty cool
7.5.
track.
Nate, we are gonna flip flop and reverse it from the last one. I just gave this a 7. I thought it was a bit a step down, but not maybe as far as what Joe thought it was. But yeah, you know what? I definitely did not really. I didn't really dig the next one that much. So the next one is called "Sinner Swing" with an exclamation mark, and what I got for this, he dropped an F-bomb in this song.
Yeah, yes. Holy
That's my
crap.
lone note.
That's my only note too.
My note says "fucking." Did he say "fucking"? He said "fucking."
Yeah. So
That's the funny thing is you don't really listen to these like thinking about cussing or anything, but when he says it, you know because you've never heard him.
It stands out.
Wait.
It definitely stands out.
It really does.
The repeating group vocals, "Get out and push, get out and push." It gave me flashbacks to Lost Control, Lost Control, Lost Control.
Get out and push, get out and push.
It wasn't as bad as Lost of Control. It wasn't any that. I don't think this song is anywhere near as bad as that song. But it gave me flashbacks, and that's not necessarily a good thing. So
I was seeing 0.5s flashing everywhere.
no,
I mean the solo was rad though.
Yeah, again, guitar tone. So that I almost want to just say across the board, solos he brings in on this album. Like there's a lot of really cool solos that he plays, and I definitely have that written in on for notes for other tracks that where like it stands out to me a little bit more. But for this one, I gave it a 6.25. What about Nate?
I gave "Sinner Swing" a 5.75.
7.5. We're not that far off there. How about you, Joe?
5.5 for me, bud.
5.5. The next one is "Hear About It Later."
No, I want to hear about it right now. We're talking about it right now.
Yeah, no, we're going to talk about it right now.
Yeah.
Phaser. Eddie Van Halen
melancholy intro too.
Yeah, yes. No, like this song instantly sucked me in with that, and I wasn't really quite expecting it. I mean, to come from, like, I kind of said, in my opinion, Mean Street and Dirty Movies. Mean Street was more focused. Let's say it's focused. Maybe that's a good word. And then Dirty Movies is a little bit more showboaty. It's a little bit more stuff that we've said in the past that sometimes can hit or miss with us. And I thought it was all right. Sinner Swing, I don't know what we're doing here. And then this, like, wow, this is a different kind of tone and feel. Eddie Van Halen found the phaser pedal, and he likes it. He likes it a lot because he uses it in other places on this album. And basic cowbell. A little basic cowbell action in here on this song. And I really feel like I'm not to sound like a broken record, but the guitar tone and now the phaser, it seems like Eddie and the band itself is moving into their 80s sound that they're going to kind of stay in for the entirety of this decade. Like, we're going to hear more of that on the next album. We're going to hear more of it on the album after that for sure, and then to come. So we'll start with Joe. I want to hear about it now, too. Tell me what you got to say.
I'll tell you later. No, like I didn't have much invested in this song. I mean, I listened to it a few times, not as many as I did the rest of these. For me, it was very straightforward. It's very Van Halen.
Mm-hmm.
I did like the chorus, everything, like the vocals, everything harmonizing with it. It just, for me, was just straight Van Halen. It's what I expected to hear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't too flashy. It didn't really let me down, like, like the Dirty Movies or anything like that. Pretty basic. Didn't have much else to say about it.
All right. How about you, Nate?
There are a couple things. First of all, I like the chorus quite a bit because it gives me old school, like, barbershop quartet vibes.
Yeah.
Like singing in harmony. But there's that post-chorus, like bridge thing they do going into the bass cowbell solo. Like,
Yeah.
it's like a weird transition, but it's like my favorite part of the whole song. leading into the embracing the ability to let the band take breaths. Not everybody has to be playing all the time, and that's a beautiful thing when they do it the right way. I really, really liked that about this song. I will say, I don't know. There's some parts of the verses, lyrically speaking, I'm not really a fan of how he sings it. Not really a fan of the just vocal lines. The solo again is a solid fucking effort from Eddie, but I don't think you're ever gonna hear us go, "Oh, his solo was horse shit." He writes good fucking solos because he's Eddie Van Halen. Like, it's virtuosic because of his ability.
Yeah.
So I will say, the finding of the phaser for this song is the start of them using the phaser for the continuation of his career, because he didn't just find it and like it. He was like, if I ever play and make any sounds out of my guitar, it must include the phaser somehow, some way.
Absolutely. All right. So Nate, what'd you give this one?
7.25.
7.25. What about you, Joe?
6.5.
6.5. I gave it a 7.5. I dug it. It was all right. You know, a pretty. For me, we've only had one miss so far, kind of, and that was Center Swing. But up next, Unchained. In fact, this was the second single released in July of '81.
Mean Streets was first.
No, the So This Is Love was the first one.
What?
I know.
Huh.
I know.
They holier than thou themselves.
I guess so. Go check out the Black Album. Rank them all in the archives for that reference. No. Okay. So Unchained. This was a song that, just like Nate, I knew I had heard before. I've heard on the radio, but when you're driving on a radio back in the day, you didn't have the little info thing on the thing to know what the song was called. I didn't think he was saying Unchained. I thought he was saying change. And I hit the ground running. Change. I didn't know it was Unchained. I thought it was changed, or that's what I thought it was. So when it popped up, I'm like, ooh, yeah, all right. Wait, that's on the next album? And then I instantly, unfortunately, I didn't start this album by listening to track 1, Mean Streets. I started it by listening to Unchained, then went to Mean Streets, and then went and heard Unchained again later. And I think I low-key, as of this point, low-key, high-key, I'm not sure. This is my favorite Van Halen song that we've listened to so far.
Wow, that's high praise.
From Running with the Devil, some of those covers that we've talked about, and all that shit that they've done. Yeah, this song it's crunchy. It's got killer riffs, more phaser. The phaser's back on this one, and the chorus, the group vocals, it's catchy.
Mm-hmm.
This is the one that I instantly put focused. The band, Dave, is focused. And we have said before about David Lee Roth, he's an entertainer more than a frontman. He's out there to, he is a crowd pleaser in front of the crowd, flipping around, whipping around katanas. He's going to sing for you. He's going to dance, and you're going to get a show out of David Lee Roth. He may not be the best singer of all time, but God damn it, he's a damn good frontman in that respect.
Right.
This song shows what he can do when he's not hamming it up. Just like you've heard before in some of the other songs, when he is focused. Damn it if he's not focused in this song.
Oh, yeah.
There's only one part in this where he squeaks in just a little bit of the ham. You can do it. Just a little bit. Tell miss how you do. And it's really weird. And the thing is, as we've been going around this list, we've talked about how, like, Running with the Devil, it was like this weird, silly, serious song where, like, he was able to weave in some of that, but it works. The whole song for Unchained is super focused until that one part, but that's kind of a breakdown part. Tell us how you do. And no, like, I absolutely love this song. So I'll pass the baton to Nate. What'd you think, man?
Unchained is one of the most quintessential, like that. And just in the intro, though, that's such an 80s riff and sound and vibe they are catching there. Super catchy chorus that's ultra memorable. You really stole my thing about not knowing but knowing the song, because that's exactly the same kind of shit that happened to me. But of course, honestly, the thing that I'm going to just bring back, and I'm not meaning to bring the drinking game back, but this song is very angular. It is very angular in its build and the notes and the riffage and the crunchiness. Like I'm going to use a new word. We're using a new word for Van Halen. This song has angularity.
Fair enough.
Oh yeah, so there's another.
But I loved it.
Oh, dude, I love this song. So like the pre-chorus is catchy as fuck too. The whole it's like thought you'd never miss me till I got a fat city address. It's like non-stop talker, what a rocker, blue-eyed murder in a size 5 dress.
Yeah.
And then, of course, then change. I thought the song was called Change because it's the first third, and then the second word is Unchained.
Yeah.
And then, of course, in that whole, there's another part in that little like, tell us how you do. Come on, Dave, give me a break. And then he's like, all right, one break coming up.
Love that. That is the best.
This song
freaking part. It is
fucking kicks.
Perfect. Yes. Oh my God.
Do you have anything to add, Joe?
Like, I mean, just exactly what you're saying, especially that breakdown. Like, that whole, well, even with Dave hammering it up, it was perfect. I mean, like, we all get tired of the Dave hammering it up at times, but this is like, when I heard this song when I was a kid, and I think this is like the first time I heard a singer, like in the middle of a song, like, I don't know if you would call it breaking the fourth wall as far as, like, because he's not singing, he's literally talking to someone in the sound stage or whatever. Like, growing up, I didn't hear that kind of crap. And he's interacting and joking around with somebody. And then you're talking about the one break coming up thing, and then and then straight into that break and back into the song. I actually dug it from the get-go, like we were talking about the intro. When Alex is coming in on that snare drum, just straight into it. I've always loved this song, man.
Hell yeah.
I really nerded out on this song.
Dude, so did I. I think I don't want to just put the foot before the end of the episode here, but I think this might be the highest rated song from all of us on this album.
I'm willing to bet.
What'd you give it, Joe?
I gave it a 9.
9. How about you, Nate?
Not too fucking far off, an 8.75.
9.5 from me.
Damn, bruv. I mean, I love the love that you're giving the song, and it definitely deserves it.
This song is my second highest score since Eruption. Eruption, of course, you guys talked me into the 10. Not that I had to really be arm twisted into it. I wanted to.
Yeah, I was pulling you with a fucking.
Yeah.
Well, I always wanted to give Eruption a 10, but it was like trying to be like. I was trying to be that guy like I was back on. I felt like the odd man out on the Kill 'Em All episode with when we did Anesthesia, and I'm like, oh, this is great, it's awesome. I only gave it this, but no, 9.5 from Unchained. But unfortunately, for me,
push has now come to shove.
Push has come to shove. That's the next. Push comes to shove is the next song, and the rest of the album teeters off for me. I don't want to end the episode on a downer by any means, but push comes to shove. What did I write in my notes? Because note wise, I don't have a lot for this. I like the bass here. The bass had some really cool stuff that he was doing. Really cool because when you listen to the first couple albums, it's not really intricate with some of the bass licks that he's doing. It's very basic, and that's the way maybe unfairly until that's a really cool thing about this project, getting to go hear "Push Comes to Shove" from Van Halen on hidden behind Unchained from Unfair Warning, is just Michael Anthony getting to play something interesting on the bass. Because a lot of the times he's the guy up there that's just kind of hitting the notes and singing along, and it doesn't really seem like for like the bigger songs he's really doing a whole lot interesting. But here, that does kind of come out. It's slower, but I'm not really digging the vocals sometimes. Kind of like you, Nate, with what you said earlier. Sometimes I'm just like, it's taking me out of it. And then a drinking song, if you're listening along, good solo. But I really, coming after Unchained to Push Come to Shove really was not hitting it for me.
Mm-hmm.
This is a time capsule song.
Mm-hmm.
Where they went, hey, what did okay, do you know what my first fucking thought was? Wait, isn't this the theme song for Bully? Like when you're playing the Bully video game, there's that like yeah, like the bass is going on. That's the first thing I thought. I was like, wait, this is in Bully, right? Like what the shit's happening?
That's funny.
And then I was like, I kind of really dig it though, because it's got some nice parts, clean guitar moments, interesting solo, but they also lose me. Push, shove. Like this, but the riff behind that part's cool as fuck. They should have just shut that other thing off. Because the other thing I think is like da na na jigga dagga 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 or something kind of like that, and it's cool, but like it's not as good with the push come to shove behind that. It just kills it for me. So this is one of those songs had great potential, terrible execution.
What about you, Joe?
I agree with that full-heartedly. I tried, and it's like what we've talked about before. I try to be objective. Like I listened to it full through like one time, but then I'd be like, oh, I didn't like that at all. But then I forced myself to kind of listen to it a few more times, thinking, okay, well, maybe it's like one of those. The more I listen to it, the more I'll find something I missed the first time. It's like I didn't like it from the beginning, and I'm thinking, well, I've already kind of prejudged it. I've already known what I'm going to score it. But it's just one of those. The more I listen to it, it all stayed the same for me. It missed the mark for me, man.
All right, I gave this one a 5.5. What about you, Joe?
I have 4.5.
4.5, and Nate
6.5.
6.5. All the 0.5s.
Right in a row.
So the next song was the first single. So this is Love.
You're the first single.
No, you're the first single. I'm the tag team champions.
I'm the tag team champion. We'll not do that shit today.
I don't have a lot for the song. I was surprised to learn that this was a single, just like you said, Nate.
I had no idea.
I was like, I only have 2 notes, and it's something I've written before on all my other notes. It has good guitar tone and a good solo.
Hey.
But I honestly, for this being a single, I don't have a lot to say about it. Nate, can you save this part of the episode and talk about this song, because I'm having trouble, and it's just, it doesn't hit for me.
Well, okay, so as I go through it, I thought right off the bat it has a really clean intro, something that's a little bit different.
Yeah.
With a really fun thing where Dave is like kind of like talking into his lyrics, and then he starts singing, and that's right when Eddie kind of jumps into it and kind of gives it this like fun. I don't know. It's easy to get into the groove of this song, but I don't understand what they saw in this song that said, hey, let's make this the first single. Like, listen to the chorus. It's like hoppy and stuff, but it doesn't have a hook that makes me say, what's the word I'm looking for? God damn it, that sells records. Like I wouldn't have, honest to God, if I'm the record label, like who who dropped acid that day in the office and was like, "So this is love or Unchained is our choice, eh? So this is love is the winner," and everybody else was like, "What the fuck?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm the best." Like, you're such a dumb asshole. That's a terrible choice. He's like, "I don't care. Fuck you guys. I quit." And then I'm like, "Wait, what? You just made that decision?" He's like, "Yeah, but you got to keep it because I said it." You know. So I don't know, man. I think this song again, and I'm mimicking the exact same thing I said on the last song. Lots of good ideas, incomplete potential that's just left on the table where they like fucking had 18 ideas. They started slinging at the wall, and This Is Love kind of splattered down.
Mm-hmm.
I like this a tad bit better than the other one, but after Unchained, I was a bit lost with these two songs. Mm-hmm. And so I'll pass it over to Joe. Do you have anything to add for So This Is Love?
Well, for me, I mean, you know, first and foremost for me that stuck out was Alex's drums. Mm-hmm. He's got that shuffle feel going with the bass drum, you know. I've always liked that, like just that drivey feel that he can always pull off. I mean, it's nothing spectacular, you know. I've definitely had a lot more songs that I've really liked. Like, but when I talked about Out of Love Again, I gave that a high score just because of all the crap he can do, and he chooses a drum solo. It's a one hit on the cymbal, one hit on the bass, you know. But this, yeah, it's like it's basic, but it's not over the top. But it's not amazing. It's mediocre. I didn't hate it, didn't love it, you know. I enjoyed it, but
mediocre Van Halen.
Yeah,
he was the third brother that didn't make it as famous.
Damn it.
We know Eddie and Alex, but then there was also mediocre, and he was just, well, his name speaks for itself.
So, I don't know if this has nothing to do with the song that we're on, which is unfair. But as I was listening to Joe, and I was like, you know, looking at lyrics, I closed the page for the prior song, and the Unchained lyrics are here, and it says other recordings. Did Stone Sour cover Unchained?
What?
Really?
And then Great White? Or are they just also called Unchained? But like not the same song. I'm afraid to click on it because I don't want to start playing music live on the podcast. That's kind of a, you know, hey, we can't actually play the songs here.
Well, that makes me wonder because when we were talking about push comes to shove.
What? Puss comes to shove.
Wow. That was brilliant. Brilliant. Very good job.
Oh man, that's great.
But you remember Push Comes to Shove, who was it that had that? Jackal had a song that was called Push Comes to Shove.
Okay.
So I wonder if it's like literally just another song that's titled Unchained.
After this episode, I will listen to these, and then on the next episode, we'll fill you in. So find out the next episode. But in the meantime, back to the show. So This Is Love. Does anybody else have anything to say about This Is Love? We got distracted. That's how much I feel about this. I gave the song a 6. It's okay. Good tone, good solo. I thought it was pretty middle of the road. Nothing really stood out for me. Nate, what'd you give this one, buddy?
6.5. Again, it's right in that same range as before where it's just middle of the road.
Okay, what about you, Joe?
6.
6 right in there with me. So the next song, out of nowhere, Eddie decides I am into synthwave. What? So this was the beginning of him messing around with synthesizers, which, spoiler alert, he's going to mess around again with later, and then all of a sudden make one of the biggest hit songs in the entirety of rock music with a synthesizer.
Yep.
And it starts with him making a funky little groove called Sunday Afternoon in the Park. I was very when I saw the name of this track, and then it started. Have you ever like heard a song that you really didn't feel like fit with the name?
Exactly.
Yeah, this song.
Yes.
This is the prime example I have. This is just an instrumental. There's always an instrumental somewhere, either a intro track or a lead in, and that's what this is. But I kind of dug it. I'm a sucker for synthwave, or I mean, I'm the guy that pretty much when we were thinking of redoing the JIC intro, it went, Nate, listen to this thing. This is kind of cool. This is different. I'm digging this shit. And Nate's like, I like it too. And now it's the intro.
True.
So,
Although
like,
I wish we would have heard this, because I would have been like, how do we make this the intro?
no,
to
well, it's a little bit different when you got Halen. I'm a parent of it. Anyway, no, I really dig some synthwave stuff. What's really cool is to hear on Spotify. I actually have a little playlist to hear synthwave covers of. In fact, guess what? There's a synthwave cover of a Hagar era Van Halen song.
Wow.
That Sammy actually went, well done singing on this. You went the opposite direction that I went in, and it works.
Huh.
And I believe it was it's on 5150. That's all I'll say for now. So look forward to talk about that when we get there. But yeah, anybody else have anything to say about this synthwave? I thought it was cool.
It definitely was different. It catches your eye as like, oh shit, they've done something. Pay attention. Like, this is happening. Pay attention. And then you're like, oh wow, like this is tonally, fully 100% different. And I love it. And I'm about it. And it got me hyped up again. And then, this song gets a whole reevaluation. And there's a reason, because I like, it's almost as if he sat down to doodle and they just recorded the doodle, and that's what ended up being the song, and they added some drums to it and shit.
Yeah.
But then also I think that they're like, well, we also got this shitty song that we have left in the tank, and we've got about 1 foot out the door on the album anyways. Might as well just bury it after this cool thing. So if the cool thing doesn't land, this other thing will get forgotten about along with the synth thing. And that's definitely what happens, except for it works counterculture, because I love the synth thing and I hate the thing after it, which affects everything. We're going to talk about it. I gave Sunday Afternoon in a Park 7.75.
All right. And Joe?
I gave it a 7. I was kind of going along the lines with what you were talking about, with like the name doesn't fit the song. Like Sunday Afternoon in the Park. My first thought was, what's that? Queen, lazing on a Sunday afternoon, whatever. I'm thinking like, oh, this is going to be like fucking full on Dave vaudeville-esque. Like, so I gave it a shot. I'm like, I think, like, whatever. And then like, next thing you know, it's full on like every 80s sci-fi movie track you've ever heard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How many 80s flicks can you think of just listening to that track?
Exactly.
It's very 80s. I know I loved it. Like initially, the first, I had to listen to it like we talked about earlier today. At first, I wasn't crazy about it, and then the more I listened to it, I'm like, okay, no, it takes you back to all of this crap from the 80s and all these movies that I've watched. I'm like, okay, I can totally picture scenes from every just a sci-fi-esque type movie listening to this. No, I dig it. Yeah, 7 for me.
7. I gave it a 7 too. I like synth stuff, and this teeters into stuff that I really like to listen with synth, but not quite. And Nate, you hit the nail on the head, because it's an intro track for a song 1 foot out the door, and we're 1 foot out of the album. And I feel like
made me want to jump out the window.
Ouch.
Yes.
But I kind of forgot. I think they forgot to finish the song. I mean, that's just kind of what it seems like to me, because I'm digging the sound of it.
If you put 1 foot out the door when you're trying to finish the song, it will remain unfinished.
Ouch.
Exactly.
But
vocally, man, just the music is solid, but vocally,
it doesn't match.
It's monotone.
Yeah. it doesn't match. It doesn't go anywhere.
No.
You know, it's over before you know it, and it's like an outro to an album. And if I remember correctly, please correct me if I'm wrong, but them fading out of this was kind of supposed to be the start of the next album. Was going to be One Foot In, or it was going to be like the second half of this song. But we never got that because of the way that the next album went down.
They amputated the foot.
Yes. That's a great way to put it.
Shoota!
So I don't dig this.
Mm-mm.
As I said, I really like the music, but I docked it a whole point. I gave it a 6. And Joe, you go next.
Yeah, man. Just like I said, the vocals, man, killed me. The song was solid, but like you said, it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
I just could not wait for this one to end. I had to go down a little bit more than the point. I went 5.5, so slightly more than the point.
All righty. And Nate.
5.25. I really did not like this song.
And see, like coming into it, and that dropped your score down. Wow.
My overall album score had
Your
to
overall-
drop because it's my lowest score.
It dropped away from I wanted to like this because of what preceded it and coming into it because it of course being an intro track and then them keeping the synthwave into the song. You have my attention, just like you said, but then you don't go anywhere with it. Even if you intended for it to be an outro of this one and the intro of the next, if you would have started the next album with it, and I would have, it may not have affected my score because I would have been like, what's this? And then maybe when I get to the next one, I would have to reevaluate. But that's not the case. So, no, I gave it a 6. And so, guys, that's it for the album. Fair warning. As we said, this was definitely a fair warning. A mixed bag for sure. I said it to both of you at separate points because it was a little while before we were able to meet up and do this episode. That without going into detail at that point, that the album starts up here and it keeps kind of doing that, despite it kind of having a little hiccup in the midway, and then it just kind of teeters off. But my average rank, Brando's average rank was a 6.91. And Nate's average rank was a 6.91. Nate, that last score, you were at a 7 point something. And it dropped it down. Not only is it that, but my full because it's an exact match. I think that's the first time that's ever happened in the entirety of us doing these ranks. All the Metallica ranks so far, all the Van Halen ranks. I don't know about the other one because wink, wink, not just anyway. Is 6.91, 6.666667 or something like that. And it's the exact. Somehow we did not give the exact same ranks for any of the
same 2 songs, but we ended up in the same realm.
Yeah.
What was his overall rank?
Joe was at a 6.22222222.
Okay, a little bit lower, but nothing too crazy.
Yeah, just press 2 for a while. And the average master album rank is a 6.68. So therefore, where our standings are at right now, this is the highest ranked album. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
How
I mean,
much?
it actually is not surprising though, only because it didn't have as many duds as the other albums had duds.
Yeah.
Well, it's very interesting because the album that we collectively, even though we've talked about it and said we liked this one the least, doesn't have the lowest average rank. So, as of right now, Fair Warning is in the lead with 6.68. Then it goes down to Women and Children First at a 6.17.
Yep.
No, wait. I'm dumb.
You're right.
I know I'm not wrong, but I am dumb. I am not done. Please let me start over. I have corrected this issue mid-episode, so thank you for everybody yelling at their computer screens and typing into their comment sections. This is not the highest ranked album. The first album is 7.19. My bad.
That makes more sense.
So no, that for some reason I read and crossed. I didn't scroll up high enough, is what it is. So no, Van Halen won 7.19. Fair Warning 6.68. Women and Children First 6.17, and then Van Halen 2 6.05. That's where we're at. We have 2 more albums of the Van Halen era with David Lee Roth. And of course, he gets a little coda at the end of the discography. He gets to come back right at the very end. And that's honestly going to be my favorite part of it. Not only comparing Van Halen to Van Hagar with Sammy, but to see where we think of that last album in comparison to the earlier Dave albums. That's going to be very interesting to look at, guys.
Absolutely.
But if that's it, man, Nate, do you want to hit me with the hot tag and tell us where they can find the Rank 'Em All podcast?
Man, you already know where you find Rank 'Em All. You get us at rankemall.rocks, folks. It's so easy. Also, go to all the different podcasting platforms, whether it's Amazon Music, Podbean, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, CastBox, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, many others. Also, go to our YouTube, search Rank 'Em All Podcast to visually watch our beautiful faces talk about this shit. And make sure to follow us on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter feed. Search Rank 'Em All Podcast for those as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And also on Facebook, we throw some cool stuff up there as well, as including preview clips, some cool, some polls about, we ask you what your favorite song on the album is. So get some cool interaction, as well as you'll find some full episodes only on Facebook. So if you're trolling Facebook and that's where you like to hang out, some of our stuff is over there as well. So be sure to go do that and check that out. Again, Joe, thank you for joining us here on the episode, man. I think Joe
He tipped. He fucking tipped, bro.
Oh man, that is hilarious. He's just like deadpan looking straight. And he just, I'm looking over here at my screen, not looking at this, and I'm just waiting for him to talk, and I look over and he's like no selling it. Oh my gosh. Well,
that's going to do it for Rank 'Em All, Brando. We should get out of here before more craziness ensues. We'll see you guys next time as we take our last fair warning and dive further down on the Van Halen discography.
Absolutely. And it is time for some change, and we need to hit the ground running right out of here, guys. Have a good one later.